Martin Del Potro, hugely popular in South Florida with all the South American population here. You see a lot of Argentine flags and the light blue and white sprinkled around the stadium tonight. Of course, what a historic moment it was in the Davis Cup last year as he led Argentina to its first Davis Cup title. Del Potro. And now we'll have the coin flip now between these big guys. One of the bigger matches you'll see. I like this new little warm-up style of Del Potro. Shadow boxing with a tennis racket.
Gotta get those big limbs moving somehow.
Yeah.
Seems like he starts out kind of lackadaisical and slow, but he's a great mover for a guy as big as he is.
We can only see the heads of the kids in the shot with him to get him in the frame. There we go.
It'll be even tougher with Kevin Anderson. Kevin Anderson's got an inch or two still on Del Potro as well.
So the ever popular Juan Martin Del Potro, back in Delray Beach, 28 years of age. Comes in though ranked 42 in the world, again much like Kevin Anderson and to a greater extent Tommy Haas before. Injuries have set Juan Martin back, but he did have an excellent end to the season last year, of course leading Argentina to its first Davis Cup title. Most people want to see Juan Martin Del Potro do well. He's such a nice guy, gentle giant. Former champion here in 2011.
Seemingly playing a hometown player in Kevin Anderson, who's moved here, and Juan Martin seems to be getting just so much support and love from this crowd as he was walking out. And because he is such a gentle giant, such a great guy, and a constant smile on his face, and battled injuries through most of his career. He's a crowd favorite, it seems like, everywhere he goes.
Well, his opponent will be a guy that's a little bit taller than him, as you said. That's not very often Del Potro steps out on the court against a bigger guy. 30 years of age. Kevin Anderson, originally from South Africa, went to college, University of Illinois, and stayed in the States. Lives here in the Delray Beach area with his wife, Kelsey. Champion here in 2012. And one of the hardest working guys out there.
Yeah, he's a guy that when he came out of college, people probably weren't even quite certain he was going to make it on tour and be a top level player. And like you said, a hard-working guy, and he has worked every year to improve. And you know, when I watch Kevin Anderson play in practice, I think of just professionalism. He works hard, he works smart, he knows what he needs to do, he knows his game and how he needs to be effective. And he's just really improved, and there are a lot of guys that you don't see market improvement from year to year. With Kevin Anderson, for most of his career, you see that. You see in the offseason that he put in the time, the effort, and it pays off for him.
Well, James, let's take a look at your champion Porsche keys to the match. What you think each guy's going to have to do well tonight?
Well, Juan Martín del Potro, I could put that down as a key for every single one of his matches. Rip that forehand, because you know, his forehand, when he took time off and when he had so many surgeries on his left wrist, he could really only work on his forehand, and it became an absolute weapon. And it was always a weapon, but it is just one of the biggest weapons on tour now. And second serve returns. Kevin Anderson's got such a big first serve that Juan Martín, if he can, needs to take advantage of the second serves to give him a chance to break him. For Kevin Anderson, he hasn't played that many matches. He played one this year last week in Memphis, and as he said, he needs time to get back into it, and that's something he needs to think about right now, being mentally tough right now. And as I said, Juan Martín del Potro's forehand is one of the biggest weapons on tour, but his backhand is what, you know, it can be a little bit vulnerable, and you need to find a way to attack it, because Del Potro does such a good job of just blocking it back, keeping it deep, making you have a little bit of a tough time attacking it. But if Kevin Anderson can find a way to rip into that backhand and maybe move forward, or at least set up the point a little bit better from that backhand corner, he'll have the opportunity to maybe get a couple breaks and have his best chance in this match, I think.
Good crowd on hand tonight. See those Argentine flags and the light blue and white scattered around the stadium tonight. The big South American population here in South Florida has shown up to see one of the game's biggest stars. Juan Martín del Potro will face Kevin Anderson. It's coming up next in our these big guys finishing up the warm-up. Juan Martín del Potro, the 2011 champion, has only lost one match in his history here. Won it beating Tipsarevic. Back in 2011, but you see he's never lost Kevin Anderson, and in fact in that head-to-head, Anderson has struggled to win sets against Del Potro. They haven't played in a while, though. They haven't played since 2013, so I'm not sure how any of that would impact this match tonight. But in terms of the matchup, do you think it favors one guy more than the other?
Well, yeah, I mean, you see 5-0, those were quite a while ago, so you would think it favors Del Potro, and that shouldn't play into their heads too much, because 3 years is 3 or 4 years is a lifetime in terms of a tennis career. So both of them have changed quite a bit. There have been a few surgeries between the two of them since then. So a lot has changed, but I do think the matchup favors Del Potro a little bit, because Kevin Anderson gets a ton of free points on his serve, and Del Potro is one of the guys that's big enough and long enough that he can get to a lot of those and put those in play and take away some of those free points from Anderson, and it makes his job much more difficult. And then they get into those extended baseline rallies, and the biggest weapon on the court once that rally starts is Juan Martín's forehand. And you know, if he can get a few rallies where he's hitting those, he's going to have the advantage, I think.
Only match he's ever lost here was to Sam Querrey last year in the semifinals, en route to his second ATP World Tour Comeback Player of the Year award. Good crowd on hand tonight on this Tuesday night, second night of main draw play here at the Delray Beach Open.
It's a tough first round for both players. Del Potro, I mean, both of these guys should be favorites with the crowd. Kevin Anderson now moving here, training here at this facility, and being a former champion, you would think he'd be a crowd favorite for sure here. But I think he's outmatched in terms of fans by Del Potro's Argentinian fans and so many people across the world that watched his epic run at the U.S. Open, beating Roger Federer in the finals there, and then last year just so much emotion we saw out of him at the Olympics and then at Davis Cup. You know, just people are drawn to someone that's that genuine, I think.
So here we go, highly anticipated match. Fans have had to wait all day and night for this one, and it'll be Kevin Anderson serving to start it. Fergus Murphy in the chair.
Big first serve, Kevin Anderson, where he's going to get some free points. I don't care how big and long you are, he's still going to get his share of free points on that serve. Del Potro had all the surgeries, and when he first came back last year at Indian Wells, he was slicing a lot of those backhands, just getting it in play, just getting it back, and his slice has improved, but still not a weapon like Tommy Haas is. So that's where Kevin Anderson needs to try to be effective.
Yeah, I saw him in his first event back here at Delray last year, and that was pretty much all he did that week was slice. He made the semifinals, but by the end of the year, he was back to his old self. Just missed it.
That forehand was just a missile, and he didn't even try to hit it away from him, just right at him and see if you can handle this pace, and Kevin Anderson couldn't on that one. Not many in the world would be able to handle that kind of pace. It's just different from almost everyone else out there on tour. It sounds different. It's just got so much power to it.
Pretty clean game for Kevin Anderson. Both these guys former champions. In fact, this section of
out Jared Donaldson, helping out a lot of the USTA players. Marty's definitely an asset for the USTA, someone that's got so much experience, former top 10 player. My doubles partner a few times. He carried me to a few titles. It's you know, he's a great tennis mind that's helping the young USTA players here.
Del Potro serving. I had the pleasure of being at the Olympics this summer, James, and on an off day I went to the tennis and got to see his match against Nadal, and it was one of the most memorable matches I saw all year. Just the passion and the spirit in which it was played.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of covering the Olympics, and almost every one of his matches was special to me. Watching him beat Novak Djokovic and see the
tears,
the amount of emotion that went into it, and then to see him beat Nadal, and he had to be so tired, just mentally and physically exhausted by the end of that tournament. And you know, how he played was just inspirational to anyone that has an injury that is, you know, debating if it's worth putting in the hard work to come back.
That match felt like a Davis Cup match from inside the stadium, just the way the crowd reacted. Obviously, Del Potro was in South America. I mean, there were babies crying, people screaming. And,
yeah.
You know, the umpire at one point had to tell everyone, remind them that it was the sport of tennis, and therefore they were to be quiet during points and not shout obscenities.
And all that against one of the most likable players on tour,
Yeah.
one of those likable champions, and Rafa Nadal. Yeah, it just shows how passionate his fans really are.
30 all here in Del Potro's opening service game. Missed it.
Misfires on the forehand. That's been his huge weapon last year that caused so much damage on tour.
Break point facing Del Potro. He equivocate him sometimes to a steam train, locomotive. He's slow to get going sometimes, but gradually builds speed, and by the end of the match, he's unstoppable.
It's a big serve from Del Potro. He tends to not get quite as many free points as Kevin Anderson, but he's going to get his fair share too.
Highest winning percentage of all time here. Again, it's just his third appearance. He's only lost one match, champion and a semifinalist. Fights off the break point, holds serve, game apiece.
And that slice, although it's not quite like Tommy Haas's, it can be effective because Kevin Anderson's 6'8". It's not easy for him to get down and really get under that backhand if Del Potro can be effective in keeping it low to Kevin Anderson. That's where he's going to try to attack that backhand, coming forward, making Del Potro come up with passing shots on the run on the backhand side. That's going to be his a big key for Kevin Anderson.
Anderson is a very smart player. Really manages his skill set well.
He does. So we'll see if there's going to be an adjustment if Del Potro is able to get a lot of those slices down to the backhand of Anderson, if he finds a way to adjust and start slicing a few back. Right there's the 1-2 punch that he wants to look for. Just misfired on that forehand. And that could be affected by the fact that Del Potro was staying home, and he doesn't want that forehand coming back at him. Might have tried to cut it a little too close.
Just the flight of the ball looks way way different in this match than it did the last match.
Yeah, that forehand, he played with fire a little bit. The last time he went for a little too much. This time it's a very good approach shot that against most opponents would probably warrant a pretty high volley, at least a good look at it. And that one, it's almost a clean winner from Del Potro.
So 30-all Anderson facing his first adversity here.
Anderson goes back to that forehand side, showing he's not afraid, and rewarded with the open court that time.
Anderson has the advantage of sleeping in his own bed while he's playing this event. There's that wind kicking up. Again, a very breezy night. Anderson holds, gets out of a 30-all situation. The court on, or the portion on the court here as well. A couple of fans get to sit in that car during the match.
It's pretty comfortable seats in there,
Yeah.
I think. Got to be careful with this with this matchup. Some of those serves could come in there and be a little dangerous.
Good to have that windshield in front.
Delpo forehand might put a crack in that windshield though.
Yeah.
One that Anderson didn't quite get all the way down to. Forehand hasn't totally found its range yet, though it was really benefiting him last season to secure the Davis Cup for Argentina, win that Comeback Player of the Year award for a second time.
Yeah.
There it is.
I mean, James, really, honestly, so much of what he does, you can't teach, can you? I mean, it's just the way was gifted and born.
Well, some of it is that, but that forehand has improved so much, and that's hard work. He put in so much time when he was injured and couldn't hit backhands, could only hit slices, wrist surgeries, and you saw immediate improvement, and that's tons of work on the practice court. And it's amazing how many people watch tennis and think it looks so easy, and the guys out there are graceful, and it's simple, and then they go out and try to do what these guys are doing, and it is in no way easy, physically, mentally, and then the skill set. It's difficult to be out there.
2 games apiece.
That's well executed by Del Potro, because with his backhand, it's going to be tougher for him to hit clean passing shots. And what he does here is he hits one that's good enough that stretches Anderson out, gets himself a forehand, and then he's able to close out the point. It's perfectly done. That's really what Anderson's trying to make him do, though, is hit those passing shots with the backhand. And Del Potro, if he's going to be up to the task all night, it's going to be difficult for Anderson.
Nice approach by Anderson.
Again, the adjustment from Anderson, he didn't want to hit that backhand. He didn't want to hit a low backhand when Del Potro did hit that short slice. He got all the way around it, did a great job with his footwork, and got a forehand. Made Del Potro come up with a very difficult backhand pass. And in fact, he went to the one-hander to try to slice it by him. It's going to be difficult to do that for Del Potro. Good adjustment from Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson's one of those players, when I watch him, James, it just seems to me like he's always thinking. You know, he's always plotting, planning, analyzing the situation. He seems like a very analytical guy.
Yeah, definitely a consummate professional.
Del Potro's going to challenge this serve.
So that one looked long.
Yeah, I thought it did too. Let's see. Big serve, tough to follow. And wow, we were all wrong. Perfect. You couldn't have walked it over there any better.
That is tennis you can't teach. You can't teach 6'8". Kevin Anderson, a big guy, got a lot of leverage and clearly worked on that serve, but it definitely helps to be that tall.
Now that time Fergus Murphy stepping in and making the call of out. Anderson decides not to challenge.
Oh, that's where I like to see a challenge. Anytime they make an overrule from the chair, they got to be confident now with the challenge system. So I like seeing whether or not they are right. Fergus Murphy doing that one confidently.
Did you notice Fergus has his name on the back of his hat? That's
Fergus does?
Yeah, that's
Did not know that.
New wrinkle.
Specially made Fergus Murphy caps.
Umpires have their name on their hats.
Maybe it's just Fergus.
And all of a sudden, Del Potro's right back in this game. This place would explode with enthusiasm if he's able to break here.
There's an Argentinian flag in the crowd. A few of those scattered around here. Throws up the lob over player 6'8". It's a great touch, great feel. And Kevin Anderson, he can move forward. He's not the most comfortable up at net, and he has really worked on improving that and getting more comfortable, but this is a tricky shot for anyone, a high backhand volley. I've seen very few players that feel comfortable hitting that. I'd say Marty Fish is the only one that I've seen that feels really good hitting that high backhand volley.
And all of a sudden, Del Potro's earned himself a break point.
Let's hope that
Potro's feet came out from under him.
Let's hope that wasn't too bad. Gets a little help from the ball boy. Looks like he's okay. That's a good sign. Oh yeah, just a little misstep coming back there.
Left a little skin on the court.
Yeah.
Del Potro way far back to return the serve. It's back behind the Palm Beach County sign.
Yeah, that's an effort to take away just getting beaten by pace. It can open up the angle sometimes, but it just allows you that little bit of an extra split second. On the return, when your opponent's serving 130 miles an hour, that split second helps. And there's an excellent body serve from Kevin Anderson. 106 miles an hour, that's a pretty big second serve and right into the body. When you're playing a big opponent, sometimes it's tougher for them to get out of the way of that. The danger is if you miss your spot a little bit, if you're going into the body, you miss it a little bit, it can be right in the strike zone for a dangerous player like Del Potro.
That was a good hold from Anderson. He stays in front of Del Potro. Blake, ever been to Johnny Brown's?
I've not been to that one.
I think we need to head down there after the match.
Happening spot.
Del Potro serving. Still on serve here in the first set.
Sticking to the plan there for Anderson, coming in, forcing Del Potro to hit that passing shot on the backhand side, but it really is out of his comfort zone. He doesn't like being up at net there. You could see it in that one. He wasn't that comfortable. He's really just looking to block those volleys.
Yeah, you know, James, just like John Isner, the hit point on the serve that makes it so much more damaging. Does his hit point on his forehand make it heavier, harder?
No,
because of being so big?
Yeah, the longer levers, the guys like Isner, Karlovic, and Anderson, it definitely helps them with the power a little bit. But to be able to control it the way he does, he hits so much power. All those guys have very powerful forehands when they connect, but he's so comfortable connecting with that power consistently. I mean, John Isner, I used to practice with him all the time back at Saddlebrook, and he, you know, when he did unload on that forehand, it was as big as anyone's in the world, but he just didn't have the consistency to be able to do it time and time again, so he had to take something off it most times. Del Potro seems like he can redline it anytime he wants.
It's warming up right now, I'll tell you that.
That's far behind the baseline where most players cannot be offensive off of that, and Del Potro's still able to on that forehand. Watch how far behind the baseline he is when he hits that forehand and almost out of position, and it's still, oh man, with that kind of depth and pace.
Nice response from Anderson. Good combination. Potro holds 3-all. Del Potro, James, like you, faced a moment when he wasn't sure he was going to come back to the court. You know, I mean, he was really struggling down in Argentina after that wrist problem. Took him a long time to come back.
That's part of the reason he has so many fans here today is you know, a lot of people have been down and out, you know, in tough times, and so they can relate to what he went through a little bit. And then to see someone that struggled, you know, with something out of their control, with an injury like that and surgery, and then come back and have this kind of success and the attitude that he's had, it's really inspirational to a lot of people, and that's part of the reason he's a fan favorite all around the world. Some feel too.
And a lot of the Argentines that I work with, former players that know Juan Martina, have said that, you know, he's not much like a Nadal. Actually, he's not one of these guys that walks around thinking about how great he is. I mean,
no,
he really can get down on himself very easily, and so they had a tough time keeping his spirits up while he was out, and constantly convincing him to stay positive and that he could come back.
Had to
is that
duck in the
windshield?
Porsche. Oh, it's too big.
Whoa!
Playing with fire from Kevin Anderson going into that forehand side with a second serve. Can work for you sometimes if he's not looking for it, but he was looking for it that time.
And he may get burned with a break of serve. Average forehand speed, 80. That's the average.
That's the average.
83 miles an hour.
Which means at times you're playing defense on that, and that's going to bring it down, but that's huge.
Break point.
Didn't quite get around that on the feet. Get a little ambitious, thinking he could get a forehand on that one.
You ever practice with Del Potro?
Yeah, I practiced with him, played him a few times on tour. Yeah, just.
How's practice, though? Because guys aren't holding back in practice. Between you two, I mean, come on. I mean, you guys would just be lasering the ball.
It is fun. I definitely enjoyed playing him. The times I played him, I had a great time.
I could see you feeding off his pace.
Yeah, win or lose, we had some battles. One of them he won, I want to say it was 10-8 or 9-7 in the 5th set in Australia. Yeah. He won a battle in LA. I won a real close one in Stockholm. And either way, win or lose, we had fun. I had fun playing him, and he mentioned he did too. He had a lot of fun. We had great matchups.
Anderson saves 3 break points to get back to deuce.
That's where it's nice to get a couple of freebies. Gets an opportunity like that and just like he kind of panicked a little, went for a little too much. Just jumped at it. That could have been also the breeze. Breeze might have taken it out of where he was looking for that reply.
Another break point facing Anderson, 4th this game. Well, if that call stands, there's the break.
For a pretty big second serve, not pace-wise, it's only 86 miles an hour, but just going for the line short and really trying to get it out of Del Potro's strike zone.
And it's good, so Kevin Anderson's given a lifeline here. He'll get a first serve, too. Still break point. Missed it. And the first break of the match goes to Juan Martín Del Potro. And this crowd responding.
zone to run 26.2.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That is quite an accomplishment.
It was fun to cross that finish line and raise a lot of money for a good cause, for cancer research, for the James Blake Foundation. I was happy to be a part of it.
Del Potro up a break. First break of the match in the last service game of Anderson's. 4-3 first set.
Crowd still getting settled.
Yeah.
Behind Del Potro.
Packed crowd here tonight. The lower bowl absolutely full. Third ace for Del Potro.
There, a little bit the difference in his backhand post left wrist surgery is he kind of shoves it or hits it very on a level as opposed to dropping his wrist. He can't drop the wrist like he used to, where he could really load on it. The great thing is the way he's been able to adjust to having a different stroke on his backhand and still be a top 10 caliber player.
Still mess with the forehand, right? Yeah.
Definitely.
He took a tumble earlier in the match, and that right knee, I got really skinned up. Trainer was out seeing him on that changeover. That's going to hurt tonight when he goes to sleep.
Definitely. If you win, it doesn't hurt as bad. It feels like a war wound. You're okay.
Oh, that ball never came up. Let's go back to when he fell earlier. It ended up being pretty comical, but a lot of gasps here, and then watch him throw the left hand out.
That was a break point, so it was a big point, but
there's the damage.
Left a little skin on the court.
And Del Potro quickly holds for 5-3. James, is the red clay the one that tears you up the most if you fall on it?
No, that's for me. That's the easiest.
Bad?
Yeah, it's the hard court, especially when it's the real gritty hard courts. Those, if you fall and slip at all, and you're you skid anything on those will tear up the knees. Those will cause some serious permanent damage a little bit with the scars, and a lot of tennis players have beat up bodies, and especially the knees don't look so pretty at the end of their careers. Knees and feet. Such a big swing he takes when he does miss sometimes, and all that is a fraction of a second difference in the timing, and that's not even close to the court.
I mean, it's amazing it doesn't happen more often.
It is.
Because of the margin of error you would think he would have with those huge swings, long arms.
Yeah, it is so small, and he's so precise most of the time.
Smart shot from Anderson again.
It's a good feel shown by both of these big guys.
I'm just sitting here thinking, James, you know, I'm thrilled it's Tuesday night and we're watching this match, but that means one of these guys is going to be done after tonight. This is a very rare chance to see a match at this caliber so early. It's a first round match.
Yeah, this could very easily be a final or a semifinal. Last 2 games after getting broken, Kevin Anderson has looked like he may be pressing just a tiny bit more. And there's where the 5-0 lifetime record of Del Potro may be creeping into his mind, that he hasn't had much success. Maybe he's going to try to change something a little too early. They're pressing again.
Yeah.
It is tough when you're playing an opponent that is basically taking away half the court, because you don't want to go into that forehand side. So you're forced to really go into just half the court, and that's the only half you feel comfortable going towards.
Another pinpoint accurate serve from Anderson as he continues to chase Del Potro. Feely. Tomorrow, a defending champion Sam Querrey on the schedule. Challenge from Del Potro.
Potro stop the point. Sometimes this is dangerous. Players are sometimes hesitant to do this, and Potro felt pretty strong that this one was out because he was right in the middle of that point. He was right.
Good challenge.
And a little look to the umpire. He still gave him a thumbs up, though, so it's okay. We all make mistakes.
He seems like one of those guys that take a lot to make him really mad. Good serve. He's out-acing Anderson as the set progresses. Anderson had the advantage earlier in the set. And then he throws in the double. It's a second double fault. Set points now arriving for Del Potro. Been on court just about 45 minutes. Set that featured only one service break. That's how close it was. Won his match earlier today against Smichek. Del Potro has been ranked that high as well. Grand Slam champion.
That's something Milos Raonic is missing so far in his career and looking desperately to get. He has worked tirelessly. Another guy that you would say is a complete professional, working tirelessly to improve his game, and he's looking to add a Grand Slam trophy or more than one to his resume. Say,
where do you think the most likely one he'd win, Raonic?
Well, I'd say Wimbledon is definitely his best opportunity with that huge serve, the attacking game. He's close this year, making it to the finals. This last year with Andy Murray.
Yeah, it looked out.
Not to
just to get the call, it's out.
Yeah. not to discredit Raonic's clay court game, but I'd probably take him out of the running in the French Open just because the red clay really does blunt his serve just a little bit, giving guys a little more time to deal with that weapon. And so then if he's out of the French Open early, he's got even more time to train and prepare for the grass courts, and I like his chances there one day.
I like your reasoning there. For a big guy, though, Raonic can play on clay.
He can
spend
play
a lot
on
of time
clay.
in Spain.
Absolutely, he can play on it. That's why I said I don't want to discredit it because he can play, but I wouldn't put him really in the running to win it, especially with the way guys like Rafa and Murray and Djokovic can play on clay, and obviously the resurgence of Roger Federer. It's handled better by Anderson. He's still not completely comfortable up at net, but still committing to getting forward and getting forward on Del Potro's backhand. There, takes advantage, gets on top of the net, puts that one away.
Anderson holds serve pretty comfortably to start the second set. These are big guys, James. We're talking about Milos Raonic, who's another big guy. Do you think tennis will see a number one 6'5" or over at some point? Or does the sport just not lend itself to that?
Yeah, I think it will at some point. I think had Del Potro not had that series of injuries, he would be in the running for being the first one that tall to be number one. But I definitely think the game just keeps getting bigger and bigger. When I started on tour, I'm about 6'1". I felt like I was one of the kind of bigger guys. By the time I retired, I felt like I was one of the littler guys. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I think eventually you're going to see a guy that's as tall as John Isner, Ivo Karlovic, but moves like a Kevin Durant and can play, can move up forward to the net and cover the net really well, and do everything they need to do to be number one in the world.
His serve's gotten better and better as this match has progressed.
Well, he gave him the jinx.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing how that happens. I'd love a probability study done on that, like how often a commentator compliments a serve and then it's followed by a double fault. It almost seems like it's not coincidental.
I think that should be a college course. Statistics, one of
Exactly.
those probability equations.
Yeah.
That's a really good body serve. Kevin Anderson used that effectively earlier in the match against Del Potro, and turning the favor there is Juan Martín Del Potro, jamming him right into practically into his chest.
Del Potro and Anderson are on Raonic's side of the draw, so if either of these guys advanced and Raonic advanced, they would meet in the semis. Sam Querrey, though, also in this section of the draw, the defending champion, so a big side of the draw, no pun intended.
That was a little intended.
Yeah, I guess it was. That was a gut buster. You could feel it.
That is just so big.
I'd just love to have that feeling one time.
There are tour players that would love to have the feeling one time. It's not many know what it feels like to hit a forehand that hard.
You almost just got to laugh. You're on the other side of the net.
Or cry, because you have to face it for the rest of the night.
So game apiece. That was 99-mile-an-hour forehand. His average forehand speed earlier in the match was 83 miles an hour.
That one was a little better than average.
He's having some fun with the crowd. But Del Potro is challenging that Anderson shot across the baseline. It was called good. It's another one of those shots that when you see it in real time, it looked like it was out. We'll have to slow it down to be sure. And just out.
Potro correct again.
Wow, Del Potro. Good use of the Silver Sea Challenge. Seeing the ball well. 15-30.
Not easy. It's back behind the baseline. Not a lot of pace from Kevin Anderson coming in there. You got a 6'8" guy on top of the net. Really threads the needle with that one. And that's what he's improved. He doesn't have the same pace on the backhand, but he's really improved his placement on it. And he knows he needs to, and that's the adjustments he's made in his time off when he had those surgeries.
Break point here early in the second set. He only needed one break in the first. And there's the break. Del Potro takes control of the second set, and therefore Thinking the night session may be okay. Day session's going to be tough, I think.
That's where the pace on the second serve is important. Kevin Anderson trying to take that one early, and it's just a little difficult when Del Potro can vary the pace so well. We've seen Kevin Anderson look like he's been pressing a little bit since getting down that first break. And it's just so difficult when he goes into that forehand side. It seems like he's just playing with fire the whole time. So you need to press to make it a little more, a little bit bigger, and take your chances, and then the errors start creeping in.
Del Potro building momentum, trying to close this match out. Yeah, flash in Del Potro's face. Anderson misjudging that, or the wind took it something.
I'm always amazed, people in the crowd not realizing flash photography could actually affect the players. It's like they're, as if they're watching it on TV, that they're too far away to even be noticed. It sure does have an effect if you get a flash right in your eye as you're tossing your ball up to serve. I guess it's possible they had a cell phone and didn't realize it was going to flash. You don't see too many of the old school cameras anymore. It's all the cell phone variety. It's a tricky ball for Kevin Anderson, who does a good job of getting up to it and hitting it to the open court.
You know, Anderson played University of Illinois, and seems like now college tennis is becoming a suitable route once again to the tour level. It's guys' careers are lasting longer, peaking at a later age. Do you think we're going to start seeing more guys take the college route now, James?
I think it's still a very individual decision for people, and I think there's some that it makes a lot of sense for. For Kevin Anderson, it worked out well. For John Isner, for Steve Johnson. Kevin Anderson had a great coach there at the University of Illinois, and Craig Tiley, who's now the tournament director in the Australian Open. They had some incredible teams while he was there.
Now Del Potro still up a break. Juan Martín Del Potro entertaining those lucky enough to have a seat in here tonight. He has dismantled Kevin Anderson to this point, but by the slimmest of margins. The scoreboard shows he's only up a set in a break, but he has not been broken tonight.
He's waiting for the breeze to die down a bit. There's an Argentinian flag behind Kevin Anderson that's blowing a little in the wind. Rare miss on the forehand side. Seems like that's such a difficult shot that far stretched out, and you almost expect him to make it. His forehand's been so good for the last year. Big forehand from Kevin Anderson, perfectly placed. Gets himself a little bit of an opening here on the Del Potro serve.
He has not broken Del Potro. Fans here trying to fire Del Potro up. The wind has really picked up though the last 10 minutes. Much breezier. Fergus Murphy allowing Del Potro to pause here.
Oh, that's just great forehand. Great regroup too, because that ball from Anderson was knuckling high in the air, came in just inside the baseline, and Del Potro able to reset and started off with two, then rip two big forehands. It's not easy to do. This wind could definitely be affecting his toss. Del Potro, a big guy, but still has a pretty high ball toss, which isn't great for the breeze.
Beautiful slice to get to game point. You think he's serving better than normal, or about what you'd expect?
I'd say about what I'd expect from him. I think that's one thing that really helps the big guys, is a guy like John Isner, and as hard as they hit it, which is a big advantage for them, they're able to be a little more consistent. Their clearance over the net is able to be more so. They have more margin, and that serving a higher percentage of first serves for the big guys is really important.
Let's look at their average serve speeds. Del Potro, not as big a serve as Anderson, but he hasn't been broken. How about the atmosphere in here tonight?
Definitely doesn't seem like a normal everyday first round match, that's for sure. I recognize how great these players are, and that this could easily be a weekend match.
Another good service came from Anderson, but he's got to find a way to break.
Yeah, these are still important, though. You got to stay within shouting distance of Del Potro. If you get down that second break, sometimes you might as well just walk up to the net.
Well, Anderson continuing to chase Del Potro. He's not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. Guys in sleeveless shirts that should not have been in sleeveless shirts.
I might have been included in that.
No.
But yeah, I think Tommy Haas was the one that really started it, and Rafa Nadal made it extremely popular.
Del Potro on this breezy night just trying to hold serve a couple of more times and get through this match in straight sets against Kevin Anderson. He's played 13 sets against Anderson. He's only lost 2 in their history, never lost a match to the South African.
A couple of times he's gotten him with that body serve.
Kevin going to his knees.
Yeah, Kevin looking to extend his arms, and when it gets in there and jams him, it's tough if he doesn't take that first step quickly.
Again, Kevin and his wife Kelsey live here in this area, so. I've always thought it would be so strange to play a tournament in your hometown and lose early. It's continuing to go on. I know when we do the Atlanta tournament as part of the U.S. Open series, Donald Young actually lives above Atlantic Station, the venue where the tournament's played. And he's lost early a couple of times and had to just go back to his apartment and know that the tournament was going on down below. He's not losing this week, though. He beat Karlovic this afternoon, Donald Young. Good win for DY.
I had that happen in New Haven when I lost early one year, and it's just 20 minutes from my home. for these players. Most of them are such professionals. They're just getting on with the job and being ready for next week. And Kevin Anderson, that means Acapulco and Indian Wells and Miami, and focus on those even if today doesn't go the way he plans. And he's got an opportunity here to get back into this match.
Del Potro's been very solid from 15-30 down.
That's a great serve. Really a good variety, taking the pace off and getting Kevin Anderson stretched way out to the backhand side. You saw his average was about 117. That one only 91 miles an hour.
Potro battles back again, game point.
Follow up the off speed with the heater. 127 right down the center. The wind got that one a little bit.
Yeah.
Complete miss hit for first serve.
Ball just going long, so Del Potro the game away from victory. Anderson will be trying to slow that down. This match just an hour, 18 minutes old. Quickly out to a 40-love lead, and he'll be down to his last chance to extend the match if he holds here. So Kevin Anderson does his part to extend the match, but Del Potro will be big man's game tonight.
Looking great. Started out, forehand wasn't quite clicking the first game or two, but then it got rolling, and he's looked solid ever since, and done a great job taking care of his serve. 15-30 a few times, but gotten out of trouble well. And this is so far been a great first match, I think, for him for the year. I do agree with his decision to take some time off after the end of last year and how late he ended with the Davis Cup, to take off the Australian to hopefully for his sake be healthy and ready for this entire year.
It's not like he had an easy draw here.
No,
you know, I mean, what a tough first round match, and he's, I mean, no disrespect to Kevin, but he's made it pretty routine outing.
Yeah, and his backhand just continues to improve, I think, in my mind, from when he has come back, and his ability to adjust. It definitely has changed in the stroke. He can't drop that left wrist, but he's placing it better. He's finding the spots. He's even passing better off it so far tonight. I think that's going to be a big factor for him this year. Even that point there, the backhand hit the short angle to set up the forehand, and he's just adjusted so well to having a little bit of a different backhand than he did 5-6 years ago before the wrist surgeries, and he's doing an excellent job. And that's so difficult. I can't stress that enough, how difficult it is to completely change a stroke in the middle of your career and really be forced to by injury, and then feel confident enough to go out and beat a player like Kevin Anderson or all the players he was able to defeat last year.
Potro arrives at match point.
Just knowing how to use that backhand better, and when to play the slice, when to be a little more aggressive with it. Gets him to this stage of the match. Erases one.
Still match point for Del Potro. It's the number 7 seed in Raonic's quarter of the draw, but also could face Query down the line. So Juan Martín Del Potro, with a break in each set, continues his mastery of Kevin Anderson, winning his 6th straight match against Anderson. And that was a very impressive effort for Del Potro, 6-4, 6-4.
That's a great return to 2017 tennis for Juan Martín Del Potro after such an inspirational year. Last year, coming back from serious injuries, silver medal at the Olympics, Davis Cup title. Great start here, where he said Delray Beach is so special to him, being a former champion. The reception he got here was possibly the reason why this place is so special to him.
So Del Potro is going to stick around a little longer, much to everyone's delight here, as a throng of fans waiting just above him to get his autograph or something, maybe even a look from him. He's such a popular player here. So here we go. We've got this section of the draw filled out. All-American Query and Donaldson, and Zoomer and Del Potro.
Yeah, interesting section. You said it before. There's some big players there. Sam Query about 6'6" as well. Del Potro 6'6". If those guys meet in the next round, which they'd probably both be the favorite to get there. Some big serve and some big forehands in that match. Should be interesting. Query Donaldson will be a good matchup though. Donaldson, a young American on the rise, has plenty of potential.
Yeah, that was a fun match. Good quality tennis to end the night.